5-second board goes up. We're ready for the start here in the Caterham Supersports. Robertson and Hart, Dyer and Richards, Mortimer and Johnson. Lights come on. Out they go, and it's a cracking start from Matt Dyer in the 73. He's already got the jump on Robinson's got a slow one. Up into the lead comes Mike Hart. Brilliant start from Dyer. He's side by side with Richards, who goes round the outside and into second position. Richards has got it nicely done. Into the lead though, it's Mike Hart, and Robinson has gone backwards down to fourth position. They start to break for Dean Hairpin. Several drivers taking risks on the outside. Robinson trying to make the move back on the inside of Dyer, and it hasn't worked. Round the outside comes Mortimer to move up into third position, and everybody gets through, although a couple of drivers have gone very wide on the exit of Dean Hairpin. But it's brilliant from Hart as he leads it in the early stages. Richards is up to second. Mortimer making the move for third place past Dyer, and he doesn't quite make it work. Fantastic stuff on the opening lap. James Robinson is down to fifth, and that just proves what we were saying.
It really is. You've got a really bad start, and then once you've got behind some people, they were braver than him on the brakes going into Dean. He tried to get up the inside, didn't work.
Very, very close indeed in the early stages, Chris.
Robinson was starting on the wetter side of the track, of course, he was on the inside when the rubber is on the outside. So that was a disadvantage to him, and he's falling back further, I think, now as well.
Yes,
almost three wide into Grayson's.
Is that Robinson trying to make the move up to fourth position? Yes, it is. He just makes the move on the inside, and through comes Day as well. Does he? No, not quite. Day tries to get a move on the inside. Johnson has lost a couple of places on the opening lap of this race as well. Trying to see who that is that's come up into the position. I think that's Jenkins in the 18, who was looking very racy towards the end of the race yesterday. Looking like he's got himself on for a good one. And we have got a couple of cars off at the back of the field trying to make their recovery. So we have lost a couple of people. I wonder if it was through Chapman's. I wouldn't be surprised. And Hart has got himself a bit of an advantage in the early stages. He's got about 6 car lengths, which is critical at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, it's just what he done yesterday, Mike Hart. But of course he had that safety car, but trying to do what he could have done yesterday. Yeah, here comes Robinson down the inside for third. That's brave stuff on the first flying lap here at Rockingham, and he's done the move. So Robinson on the recovery.
Robinson up to third, and it looks to me as though Day is up to fifth past Jenkins as well. So he makes the move stick very nicely into Dean Hairpin. The field is actually spread out a little in the top 6. A couple of drivers going for the move in the lower positions. It looks like, yeah, it looks, Robinson goes wide, and that has cost him third place. So that is a disaster from him. So Robinson back down to Dyer into third position, and we've lost one of the drivers into the pits. It looks like Tamplin, and West is at the back. West, who is trying to make his way from the back of the field, is cruising around this racetrack. Something has gone very wrong. I wonder if that's a remnant from yesterday. Andrew West cruising around this race circuit and into the pits. He is out of this race. Oh, a spin! And that is a spin coming into Piff Paff. That's Dyer. Dyer and Robinson trying to avoid him. Dyer has lost it at the Piff Paff corner, and that is very bad indeed for them. It leaves Hart and Richards on their own at the front, and up to third place has come Day. Day is up to third position now. Robinson has recovered in fourth position, just in front of Mortimer, but that is absolutely disastrous for Dyer, who has rejoined in the midfield. So it looks like they tangled on the way through Piff Paff, and their race is done for the moment, certainly in the challenge for victory. Robinson has got himself going again, but he's down to fourth position as a result of that manoeuvre, so it's not going to be easy as far as they are concerned. Very tricky in the early stages then. The battle for third position is on.
Yeah, Richard's doing a great job here in second. He's got the easier job here because he's following Hart, whereas Hart sort of doesn't really know like where to brake, so Richards is kind of following what Hart is doing. But yeah, Robinson, he's coming back at Day for third already. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a go into the Dean Hairpin. They're going through turn 1 now. Robinson's getting a really, really good tow as we come down into Dean Hairpin now. Will we see him go up the inside? He has a think about it, but
putting him under pressure.
Yeah, no, but there is a move behind for fifth place, I believe.
Yeah, that is Rankin making his move up to fifth position on Philip Jenkins. Very nice move there from the 14. Very nice one. Oh no!
Third place, spun.
Oh no, that is a disaster. That is Day. That is Day. He's lost it out of Dean Hairpin. Oh dear,
I think Robinson was involved with that as they were coming out of Dean. I don't know whether they touched, I couldn't quite see. But Robinson was going up round the outside, and then Day spun.
Oh dear, he obviously caught a patch on the circuit that was wetter than most and lost the back end. And Day losing it out of Dean Hairpin. What a disaster. And another spinner at the back of the field as well out of Dean Hairpin. So that has gone terribly wrong for one of the drivers at the back of the field. There's a nice little battle right at the very back between Mortimer in the 45 and Howell. So has Mortimer fallen all the way to the back? No, it's the other Mortimer. My apologies. That is the 45 who is down at the back. So that is the other Mortimer, as it were. That is the 45 of Paul Mortimer, as opposed to Jonathan Mortimer, who was fighting at the front still. Into Tarzan, move for 5th position. And that is Jonathan Mortimer looking on at these two guys in front, still scrapping for position, and we've got drizzle again, It's going to make things even more exciting out there for the Caterhams. It has started raining again here, and this is going to make things a little bit more hairy than the drivers want. Hart is leading at the moment, but it's not going to be long before Richards is breathing down his neck. And indeed, Hart gets the fastest lap in, a 1:48.6, Richards on a 1:48.7. Robinson is third again. Rankin, Jenkins, Mortimer, Amerson, Johnson, Dyer and Wright finish off the top 10. Day is down to 20. Now we've got Thacker in 8th position from Johnson, Dyer, Wright and Day, who is down to 12th place. Black and orange flag. Oh yes, there is a move for 5th position. Up the inside comes Mortimer to try and make the move on Jenkins. Jenkins round the outside defends. You're not getting through there, mate. And there are two cars with transponders not working by the look of it. Thacker in the 66 and the 26 of Gray, and we've got a black and orange flag out. Who is that going to be for? Can't quite see the number for that flag, but the number 6 and the number 45 have come through. Trying to see the number. It's the number 6. It's the number 6. That is Powell. That is Nick Powell towards the back of the field. He's been given a black and orange flag. Now that means officially that there is something wrong with the car that the driver may not have identified, whether that's a dragging exhaust or a dragging body panel that could cause a problem for the other drivers, and he has to pit immediately to get that fixed. And that is heartbreaking when you're in the middle of a race and you see that flag.
It is, although it's a safety issue. You don't know what it is. It could be something's on fire, so it really is important to make sure you obey the flags and come in. But yeah, if you're trying to race, the last thing you want is somebody telling you you've got to come into pits.
And the people on the starting gantry are putting their coats on again. Drizzle is getting heavier and heavier, and the drivers are really starting to struggle in the conditions. And this is what we want to see from a spectator's point of view, but the drivers certainly didn't want to see. This is where the race can be made or gained here. And Hart is under severe pressure again from Richards. Really, really tough conditions now for the drivers, and the lap times have fallen off about a second or so already. So the drivers are really starting to struggle in the conditions. Johnson gets it a little bit wrong out of the final hairpin, and that means that Dyer, making his way back through the field, is going to have a bit of a run on the way to the first corner. He's going to dive up the inside. That's brave. Johnson turns in, and Dyer has to put one wheel over the line to avoid the incident, but he stays on the inside, and that is going to be taken very dimly by the marshals, I'm afraid, because they are going to see that as a blatant cut of the corner and gaining the position. Now, this track limits issue, I do have a bit of a bee in my bonnet about it. I don't like it, but on that particular consideration, on that particular incident, I would say they were justified in making that call.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that you're always told at Rockingham on that corner is you don't go below the white line. That's exceeding track limits, and he clearly was and has gained an advantage as a result.
Yes, he's not only gained an advantage, he's gained a position, so if the marshals have spotted that one, then that is going to be a penalty, or certainly a warning flag. And because he has gained a position, they might even give him a penalty, and that is the 45, a drive-through for Mortimer at the back of the field. I wonder if he's been given a penalty for contact or something. But the number 6 has come in, obeyed the flag.
I think he thought the meatball flag was for him, because he was directly behind number 6, and he's come through and just driven straight through.
Oh dear, what a shame. That is the other concern as well. You can't always see the number boards, so you see a flag directed at you, and you automatically assume, okay, well, I've just got to pit in then, and the team have obviously told him, no, it's not for you, carry on, carry on. It's not like he's lost any positions, he's lost time. And 3 wide out of Tarzan hairpin, and there is contact at the back. Now that looks to me to be the fight for, I think that's about 10th or 11th position, so that would be sort of Wright, Day and Whitehouse getting too close together there in the mid-pack. No, it's slightly further forward than that. That is Jenkins, Amerson and Thacker getting a little bit too close together in the battle for 7th position. There was definite contact there. Robinson, Rankin, Mortimer, and then these three. Yes, it is Jenkins, Amerson and Thacker. Got a little bit too close together. The 66 of Thacker and Amerson in the 56, they just got too close together, and that was so nearly a pile-up on the exit of Tarzan. Great car control in the conditions, which are getting trickier by the minute here. More drizzle going down on the circuit. It's not as heavy as it was earlier, but it is going on for longer, and that is making the race conditions even tougher than before. Through Dean Hairpin, and we've got a massive blow, a massive engine blow. Huge smoke out of the back of one of the cars as he pulls off on the exit of Dean Hairpin. He overshoots. Something has gone very, very wrong for one of the competitors there. Massive engine blow. That is very, very bizarre and very unusual for these cars. You don't normally see a massive blow like that, and well, what is that going to be? Is that going to be an engine failure? It
could be. I mean, you're on full throttle, it's the fastest part of the circuit. It's not where you want that to happen, right next to the concrete wall, but that's probably what it is.
Very, very disappointing for that particular driver. We'll figure out who that is in a moment or two. Well, just trying to see who that might have been in the position. I wonder if that was Ashworth in the number 3 who had that problem, Keith Ashworth. We'll have a look when the drivers come through. We'll see who's missing. And we'll see more battling in the Tarzan hairpin. Yes, Amerson making the move as Amerson gets up the inside of Thacker and finally makes the move. He was trying to make a lap ago that almost ended in the wall. And these two, Hart and Richards, are flying away from the rest of the field. About 4 seconds a lap slower than the fastest lap earlier on. So over the course of this long lap, the drizzle is costing the drivers about 4 seconds, and it is still going here. If anything, it's getting heavier. Robinson in the 16. 14 Rankin is fourth from Mortimer. Jenkins. Mortimer, Amerson. Thacker is up to 7th place, so Jenkins has fallen back in the pack. And the rain is getting much heavier now. It's not drizzle anymore, it is rain. And the drivers are really going to struggle on the run to Dean Hairpin for the first time since the rain really got big. And a couple of drivers missing their braking points. It looked like things were getting a little bit hairy for 4th place Rankin. He just about saved it on the exit of Dean Hairpin, but the car was definitely trying to snap away from him. Up towards Yentwood, the battle for 4th place is getting closer as a result of this rain. Rankin still trying to hang on, and a big moment there for Robinson in the 16 as he lost the back of the car. All the drivers now staying well away from the inside at Chapman's. That is a critical manoeuvre. All of the drivers hanging it to the outside.
Yeah, it's really important because it's such a sharp corner, and Piff Paff afterwards is so important.
We've got a spin out of Piff Paff. Sorry, Sarah, we've got a spin out of Piff Paff. That looks to me to be Jenkins, who lost it there in the 18. I think Jenkins has lost the back of the car and dropped back a good 5 or 6 positions. The car just snapped away from him through the right-hander, and that's so easy to do in these conditions.
Yeah, the problem is that they've no idea where the grip is. They're trying to take the corners, not know what the car's going to do, not knowing when they can put the power down. It's really tricky.
And it looks to be very, very heavy at the far side of the circuit as well, so that the school straight onwards, that far back, looks particularly heavy, even heavier than the start-finish straight.
Yeah, one thing I would say now, looking back at the leaders, Richards is putting a blinding lap now.
He certainly is.
He's getting more confident because he's behind Hart, and Hart's driving into the unknown with the rain getting heavier. Richards is just able to use him as a guide, and he is really starting to catch. But yeah, there's more jostling going into the Tarzan hairpin. We're 3 wide, and it looks like the number 6 of Powell has got his problem 6. He's heading back out into the circuit.
Oh, it's like an icing rink out of the last corner, and several drivers are struggling in the conditions, and it's going to be so easy to lose the back end of the car into the wall at that last corner. The drivers are no wiser to the conditions. If anything, they're getting worse and worse. Hart goes very wide out of Yentwood for the lead, and Richards is going to be reading in. He's been reading him in already to the tune of 0.6 of a second per lap, and Hart is in big trouble here. Richards has got the advantage of following in his wheel tracks. Oh, Richards nearly loses it out of Chapman's into Piff Paff, and that will have been a wake-up call. It is looking absolutely torrential. There are massive puddles developing in the pits now. It is an absolute contrast to what we saw 24 hours ago, and the rain is hammering on the grandstands here. It is really tricky now for the drivers. Now we've got proper rain.
Yes, I think this is more than 13%. This is absolutely starting to throw it down. Everybody's just have to be really cautious. But Richards is playing a blinder because he's just looking ahead of him and thinking, okay, he can brake there. I can brake a little bit later, not massively, but I can. And so he's just edging closer and closer all the time.
Into Tarzan for the first time since the rain hit, and Hart's gone very, 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 very wide. So too is Richards. They're both struggling for position here, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare coming into Gracelands. The top 6 have gone through okay, but everybody else is going to really struggle as it gets wetter and wetter and wetter all the time. Everybody really struggling on the outside of Chapman's. On the outside of Graceland, nobody using the inside line, and Hart has really lost time. Richards is right on his tail now as they come out of the final bend. We're looking to the timing screens to see how long we've got in the race, and I can tell you it's not long. We've got halfway through, 15 minutes to go, and this is the second half of the race, which is going to be a lot wetter. Look at the puddles that are thrown up out of the back, the spray through the first corner, and that is the fastest corner on the racetrack, of course. They've got to be so careful that the car doesn't just swap ends. Here comes Amerson making the move on Mortimer for 5th position as they come over the start line. And Amerson, just a quick signal to Mortimer, I'm coming through, I am not backing down, you need to give me the space to let me make this move. And Mortimer will not have wanted to see that, but at least they got through safe and sound. Mortimer is now going to try and beat him to the braking zone round the outside. And Dean Hairpin, that is brave, but he wants to go for it. And 3rd position is now anybody's guess because Robinson has lost 2 seconds on that last lap to Rankin. Rankin knows this is his best chance of getting 3rd position, and he is closing him up. Richards is now right on the tail of Hart for the lead. This race has just gone mega.
Just shows you what rain can do. It really is all about the skill, finding out where the grip is. Also, visibility is really difficult if you're following somebody behind. We've now got rooster tails from the rain being thrown up from the track, which makes it even more difficult.
And the person who lost it, well, we've got another spin off of Dean Hairpin in the conditions, no surprises there. But the driver whose engine went was the 87, that was Adam White, who lost it. His car just being recovered now around the outside of the oval to bring it back to the pits. But definitely struggling in the conditions, the drivers. The rain has eased off again, but it's still here and it is still falling. The spray through Gracelands, it is absolutely treacherous for the drivers. There's nothing they can do about it. They've just got to feed their car through the corner and hope that it's going to be enough. Robinson has lost 3rd place. You're right, Sarah. Yes, indeed. It looks like Rankin has got through in the 14, and Robinson gets very wide through Tarzan. He's in danger of losing 4th position to Amerson here. Amerson is now right on the tail. Robinson has lost 4th position, and it's nose to tail for the lead. Richards almost kisses the wall on the outside of the final turn. He is pushing hard here. More time lost for Hart. He's lost half a second in that last lap. The gap is 0.4 of a second now. You do kind of sense that Richards is going to be making the move to get the lead on this lap or the next, and this is going to be an absolute barnstormer for Richards if he can pull this off. And I think it might have been one of the Burnt Tree Group cars that spun at the first of the corner. Yes, there is some moves being made around the outside. Robinson having to defend to get back past Amerson, so Amerson lost the manoeuvre. Amerson lost the place to Robinson there. Mortimer and Dyer having a nice scrap for 6th position. Dyer to come round the outside of Mortimer. Can he go round the outside of the Dean Hairpin? He is trying. Mortimer shoves him wide and says, no you don't, there's contact ahead of them. That's Amerson. Amerson has come together with Robinson, and Amerson has dropped back 3 places. Amerson gets it going again, but Amerson is down to 8th position, and the leaders are tippy-toeing through Piff Paff and out towards Gracelands again. They are absolutely tiptoeing. Neither of them can really sense where to go for it on this lap. Dyer is making up a couple of places. Dyer has got back through into 5th position, so a great recovery from Dyer so far as he moves his way back up through the field. But Hart versus Richards, it's going to be a case of who keeps out there the longest now.
Yeah, I think Richards is more comfortable just sitting behind for now. He might wait till the end of the race before he decides to make a move, but so far the driver standing out to me is Ranking in 3rd. He's just doing the best thing and the most important thing, which is keeping it on the black stuff, and it's all going off behind him, and he's just keeping there, and he made a great move, a really brave move into Chapman's there on Robinson. And yeah, he's doing really good, and he could be on for a podium, which would be a really great result for him. But Dyer looks very quick, just getting past Mortimer there, and he's coming for Robinson.
Blue flag says the man at the back, the number 45 of Mortimer moves aside. Well, he doesn't move aside. The drivers in the lead of the race have to move aside and get out of the way of Mortimer. And Hart and Richards lapping back markers. The gap has opened up to 0.6 of a second, but now nobody is setting a lap under 2 minutes. They are all struggling for position at the moment now. They've lost a lot of time in this. It's about 13 seconds a lap slower, the circuit as it is now, than it has been since the start. So it is really critical. The drivers have just got to feel their way through the circuit. And I have to say, I'm surprised there haven't been more spins than there have in this race. It was more tricky for the drivers in the drizzlier conditions, and that's kind of reiterating what we said earlier on. The drivers find it trickier when it's not quite dry and not quite wet, when it's that halfway point in between, when the circuit is greasy and you can't really predict what to do. Now the circuit is very wet. Drivers can predict what to do, but we've got an offer. Dean Hairpin, and looks like Mortimer has lost some time there. He's lost a good 2 or 3 positions as well, and the battle is really stepping up for 4th place. Mortimer has fallen out of that battle, and Jenkins in the 18 has joined the back of that group. So it looks to me as though we've got a very neat and tidy race going on. Dyer making the move for 4th position. Does he get there on the inside? That is the bravest of moves. It doesn't work. He doesn't get past Robinson there, but Robinson runs out wide. Oh, this is very close indeed. Robinson on the wide line. He tries to tuck in to cover Dyer, and he has done for the moment, but that is so close. Everybody really working hard in these conditions. It is so tense at the moment in that battle for 4th position. Rankin, as you say though, Chris, just taking things very maturely in 3rd position, getting on with it, not getting into a battle. And now we can see, as you said as well, Chris, Richards has hung back a little bit from Hart. There's no point going for a manoeuvre when there's not going to be enough space to get that move done. He needs to wait until the right time, or wait for Hart to make a mistake. And he almost did it out of the final corner, almost bottoming out, but he managed to get the car together just in the nick of time.
Yeah, Richards being very sensible here. It's of course a championship, and finishing second will be really good championship points for him, rather than perhaps going for the lead and spinning. But I mean, he could probably spin and still come out in second. They've got nearly the whole straight ahead of 3rd place, but Dyer looks very, very quick in 5th position here. He got a run on Robinson here.
Yeah, he does have a run on Robinson. He's going to go for the move.
And he's got that move done before they're even into turn 1. So Dyer next on his list is Ranking. So yeah, Rankin might have to start switching his tactics.
Yeah, Robinson's coming back at him on the inside line. Dyer might want to cover him on the inside line, but Robinson wants to see where Dyer is braking. Might try and put him under pressure to hold that position. So tricky as well. That hairpin, Dean, it is no surprise that drivers will lose it at that point, because they're coming from the banking, which is slightly on the slant, down the hill into a hairpin. It is going to be so easy to lose it in that particular corner. But fair play to the drivers in that gaggle of cars. They are keeping it together for now.
Yeah, they're all driving very sensibly. It looks as though it's really wet, particularly just coming out of Piff Paff and then coming into Gracelands. I think Richards, as Chris said, is driving very sensibly. He knows it's stupid to take a risk when he's already in a strong second position, and you know, who knows, Hart might make a mistake, or it could dry up a little bit more and he thinks he can go through it, but I think he's driving very sensibly.
Great driving at the front and the back of the field as everybody settles out into a bit of a rhythm, and the rain eases off now. It's not raining anymore, so it looks as though we are getting that blue sky coming over, and it does dry very quickly at Rockingham, and we have got time before the first pickup truck race, which is after the lunch hour. So despite that massive rain shower we had that soaked the track, if things keep going the way they are, we might get that blue sky pushing the wind, pushing the clouds away from the circuit. It might still dry out, so we might get the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case, because we'd all really love to see the pickup truck. But I've got to say, Dyer's taking very different lines to Rankin. He's going round the outside of Tarzan there, where of course the grip is when it's wet, and you can see he's now right on the back of Rankin, and coming with him is Robinson. So this could be a really interesting battle for 3rd place now.
Yeah, Rankin has lost a lot of time, it has to be said. Rankin has lost time, and he's down in 3rd position, having fallen away back into that gaggle. And this is Dyer making his move for 3rd position. Rankin tries to cover, and he's got a wheel on the line, two wheels over the line to try and make the move, and that's what we were saying earlier. And that could be a bit of an interesting one for the stewards if they have spotted it. That could be a bit of an interesting one, and I do see the marshal making a bit of a note on a pad or something along the likes of, so maybe he spotted that move was taken under the white line, so that could be a bit of an incident there, and track limits coming into play again perhaps here.
And that's a real shame because he didn't need to do it. He'd already got the move made. He could have just stayed a little bit wider and really didn't need to do that. So I'm hoping he doesn't get a penalty for that one.
No, I hope not either, but there is a bit of a fine line in 2014 for the MSA's track limits, and you do need to be wary of that. Hart and Richards are closer together than they have been for a long time. That is partially down to the traffic that they have just been trying to make their way through. Nice move at the back of the field perhaps as Osborne makes his move on the inside of Brio, and that is how Dyer should have got the move done. Very nicely done on the inside, no need to dip to the inner line. Yeah, very close indeed for the leaders. Richards has caught right up to the back of Hart, and now the track is drying. So this is the moment, really, for Richards to try and take the lead. He's got 5 minutes to go, and he has decided, right, the time is now. Let's step up the gear and go for the victory. And he's right on the tail. Hart has lost the back end a little bit coming into the final corner, and Richards is going for it. Now is the moment, and he knows it. He's got 5 minutes left in this race. Richards is going for the lead here. Hart is down the straight, and it's going to be who gets to Dean corner first here. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Richards has got a good line through the slipstream on the tail of Hart, and it's going to be about that breaking point with the sunshine out there as well. That could cause a bit of a problem. Mortimer has got out of the way of some of the slower cars, and I thought that was one of the cars spinning, but it's Mortimer getting out of the way of the leaders as Richards closes up on Hart once again. This is where the race really begins. Richards on the tail of Hart with 5 to go. Dyer is third from Rankin, Robinson, Mortimer. Then it is Thacker ahead of Amerson. And it is very close with Day not far behind as well. Just imagine where Day could have finished had he not had that spin. That would have been an easy third position for that point. But now it is starting to get tricky. Hart and Richards hanging out wide at Chapman's as they make the run to Piff Paff, but it is starting to get drier on the start-finish line and out of the final corner already. There is a real dry line developing as the sun bakes a heat haze onto the final corner. That could make things incredibly tricky because that last chicane is absolutely sodden, but coming onto the straight, a dry line is developing very quickly indeed, a dry patch of the circuit, and that could mess with the senses with the drivers coming out of that final turn.
Yeah, it's really difficult because you're coming in and it's all sliding, then suddenly you've got a massive amount of grip and you can very easily lose it as a result of that.
Especially with the rain and the moisture still on the tyres as they come through, a lot of wheel spin coming out at that point, and this is when things will get really tricky for the drivers. They've got to just play it by ear. Richards gets a better line out of Tarzan than Hart, and he's gained another 10th or 2 out of that one corner. So Richards knows he's only got maybe 2 laps left of this race really to make an attack. As they come off the final turn, there are 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. He's really about to begin the final lap he's about to begin the penultimate lap of this race. They are nose to tail. There is about half a car length separating them at the moment, and Richards might have a great run here on Hart. Hart gets closer to the wall. Richards has got a good speed out of this corner. He might be able to get the move done here. Down the straight, in through Dean. He is right on the tail. He's got to keep in the slipstream to stand any chance of making that move into Dean Hairpin, but Hart has got straight line speed here. He's managed to build up the speed well, and that has given him a crucial gap to keep Richards at bay. I'm not sure who's going to win this one, but I'll tell you what, whoever does of the two, it's going to be well deserved.
Yeah, there's a yellow flag just as they're coming out of Dean, so I'm not sure if there's an incident there that we have missed, but I'll tell you, Rankin, since being passed by Dyer, he's started to pick the pace up, so the battle is not over there yet, but I think Richards is looking more and more confident, isn't he? He knows now this is his time to go for the lead, and I think his best chance, he looks very strong in the last sector of the track, so, but it's very hard to overtake in that last chicane. So.
Yeah, there is a yellow flag out the exit of Dean Hairpin. Somebody has gone at Yentwood. I would have said that is probably, is that Powell in the 6th? Well, we've certainly lost somebody through Yentwood. Someone has not come through. I think it's the 44 of Whitehouse. Whitehouse might have spun it at Yentwood, and that's his race over, which is a shame. Yellow flag still there, but Whitehouse is tumbling down the sheets. So Whitehouse is out of this race by the look of it. Look at the gap between Hart and Richards now. It's literally just a car length as they come out of Graceland. and this is where Richards might be trying to put Hart under massive pressure. A lap and a half to go. Hart goes out very wide. Richards tucks in for the inside, and Tarzan, this is where he's going to start making his bid. Hart shuts the door for the moment, but Richards is right on his tail here. This is where we have got the last lap and a bit to go in this event, and this is where Hart is weaker. Richards can get right on the tail of Hart here and look for an opportunity. He is being cautious as well, Richards. He knows that Hart is struggling at this part of the course. Now he needs to get a great lap out. He needs to get a great move out of the final turn, and he has done. The car bites out of the final corner, but so too does Hart, and it's going to be one more lap of this to sort out who's going to be the winner. Hart was only a tenth of a second quicker than Richards on that lap, so there are parts of the circuit where Hart is better than Richards, and it could end up being stalemate in this one with a lap to go. Hart might be able to hang on to this one. Again, look, he just pulls away on the run to Dean Hairpin. Richards isn't even close enough to go for the move, but third position is anybody's guess. Dyer, Rankin, Robinson and Mortimer all scrapping.
Rankin's through to third.
Yeah, Rankin has got back past Dyer for third place. Robinson is trying to fend off Mortimer. Dyer is having another go at Rankin for third position, and again, he's got one wheel, two wheels on the white line, not past it, but on the white line. He is pushing hard here, trying to get back past Rankin. And again, Hart is under pressure up the inside. That looks like Mortimer trying to defend from, Robinson trying to defend from Thacker as he makes his bid to stay in fifth position and maybe close up on fourth place. Hart and Richards still scrapping on the run through Piff Paff, and Hart gets it very wrong. That means that Richards can close up, and he's still very close indeed. The far end of the circuit is where Hart is weakest, and into the final corner, but through Gracelands, Hart does seem to have the edge. Richards knows this is the last chance. He's got to go for it. It's very close indeed. Hart wobbles. Richards is right on his tail. They come down the straight towards Tarzan, the right-hander, and they are still nose to tail. Richards is closing in. Now he's going for it. Richards on the inside. He knows this is his moment. Up the inside. They're going to be side by side off the corner. Hart hangs on the outside line. Brilliant stuff, and Hart hangs on. Richards went for the move, and he couldn't quite pull it off. Now he's going to try again into the final chicane. Hart is hanging on in there. Brilliant defense from Hart. That has won him the race for me, if he can hang on to this through the final couple of corners. Richards tries again. He dives for the final corner. Richards on the inside line. He can't quite get there, but he is determined. He's desperate. He's done everything he can, but Hart has done enough. It is a victory for Hart in fantastic fashion. Hart wins. Richards is second. Absolutely brilliant race, right down to the last lap of the race, the last corner of the race. He made the move, he just wasn't quite close enough. He almost had it done, but Richards should be very proud of himself for second place. Brilliant stuff. Hart wins it, Richards second, and it's going to be Rankin who grabs third on the last lap from Dyer. Dyer's going to try across the line though, side by side. Rankin gets there. Dyer is in fourth place, and very close indeed between Robinson and Mortimer for fifth as well.